Hi, it's MJ from Lioness Publications. Today we're going to look at Canada. I had actually created charts on Canada a few months ago, maybe about 3 months ago, when all the data on the tariffs was coming out from Trump, what he was going to do. And at that point, I was looking at the charts and I'm saying, this doesn't seem so bad. Maybe it's too early. Maybe I need to look at it a later time. So I just put the charts aside and I said, I'll come back to this and see what's up. Well, I'm back to it, and I have the date set for September 1 in this case, and we're going to take a look at what's going on with Canada. And the primary interest here is, number one, Trump has just been horrible with our ally. And I'm not going to make an opinion whether, Canada deserves it or not, whatever. But I wanted to see the effect on the nation. Well, the first thing we're going to look at is the transit, and then we're going to take a look at the progression, and then the solar arc. So on the transits, we only have really one transit that's happening, and it's a really good one. We've got Jupiter in the 10th house, and it's making a trine to Saturn, and Saturn is in the 2nd house. So what does this mean? Actually, it usually means that, especially for a country, there's strong leadership. You've got strategic alliances. Since Jupiter's in the 10th, it has some push into being at a different level with global countries. And that's something that's happened. I mean, Canada has stepped up and they're actually, more involved in global politics. This is an indication of an economy that's growing, okay, or at least an economy that's steady. There's optimism in the country, and it's getting stronger. Now, this actually occurred later this month in August, so by the time September 1st comes along, it is just passing. So it looks from this that even though we have all these tariffs and maybe it's not doing horrible on Canada. Now, because they have Saturn in the 2nd, I think they're more fiscally responsible than maybe other countries might be. They also have, this is indicating there's probably some public trust in their leadership, and they're probably more responsible. Excuse me. So from a transit, this is very nice. And Jupiter transits last, about 2 weeks. You build up to it, then you sort of come down from it. But it usually comes back again. So this is not something, and it comes back probably, within a few months. So there's a longer period. So you have sort of a build up, come down, build up. In some cases, not all cases. So positive for Canada. So now let's take a look at the progression. And for the progression, I only have 2 marks really on it. First mark I want to talk about is this right here. That's the moon, and it's in the 7th house. Oh, excuse me. Now, the moon is typically in a progression where you have a focus for about 2.5 years. Now, this has been in here for a while, probably about 5 months or so, which sort of is about this time that Trump came out with his vendetta against Canada. So what does this mean? Well, Canada is going to use this time to create other alliances around the world. Now, since it's the moon, it can be sort of an emotional period, but it is positive in that they're going to be looking to increase their allies. They're going to be looking towards partnerships with other countries. They're going to be looking to be diplomatic with other countries. So all of that is very positive. And also, since this is a public place, what tends to happen is they're going to be concerned with civil rights. They're going to be concerned with transparency. All of that's really good. Now, the next thing we have here is, over here, we have the sun. Sort of like a national identity. And it's trine Neptune. trine. It's a great angle. Neptune, idealism. Okay. And hopefully that's tinged with being realistic. Since it is a trine, you tend to be realistic. So it doesn't bring out the sort of, the rose colored glasses. This is really positive for the country. So, in effect, this means that they have a vision. They've got a visionary leadership. They're going to move towards, and this is not quite here yet. So, it's probably going to be coming up, in about 6 months or so. Okay. So, just as an idea, so they're moving towards this. They're moving towards a stronger national identity, also a global image. And their leadership is going to be very symbolic. So this is a very, a push towards strengthening who they are as a country. So whenever the sun is involved, and it's a good angle, it's strength towards who are we in this case? What do we stand for? So very powerful. So let's now look at the last one. And this is the solar arc. So in this case, what do we have? 2 angles. We've got Uranus on Neptune and Uranus on Pluto. Oh, Neptune again. So again, we have this vision. We have, trying to be realistic, but sort of like a national. And in this case, a little bit more than national, because Uranus doing a trine, and that's what this is doing here, to Neptune, means they may have some breakthroughs. So Uranus is change, and this is being, their idealism, but it's also, as an industry, it's involved with healthcare and also energy. So this is telling me that they might actually have some breakthroughs in the next year on healthcare, maybe drugs, maybe the way they treat patients, could be AI, artificial intelligence. So this is really powerful for a country that's coming up. United States has something similar coming up, and we'll talk about that at some point. So in this case, breakthroughs, and also they're, in effect, what they envisioned is disrupted. And that's what happened with Trump. Trump came along and sort of, made them his foe. And in some cases, maybe that's a good thing. Because maybe it's making candidates sit up and say, you know what? Maybe we should step up and do things. And this is what is sort of indicating to me that that's what they're going to do. Now, we do have an inconjunct hanging in here, and it's Uranus in conjunct Pluto. So what is that? Well, Uranus is going to be disruptive. Pluto is your foundations. And in the case of a country, it's the power foundations. So it's governmental type foundations. So what happens here? So it looks like the power foundations in the country could be changing. And we did have a change in government. I mean, Trudeau resigned, in effect, and we have new leadership coming in. Now, unfortunately, this does mean since it's in conjunct, it's a struggle. It's a break and adjust. So in effect, you can't control how it's breaking. You can only try to adjust to deal with it. There are going to be challenges to this adjustment. And also, there may be some corruption that comes up. The reason I say that is that Uranus is the ruler of the 5th house. Pluto is the ruler of the 2nd house. Uranus, 5th house, is making the angle on Pluto. Uranus and the 5th house can sometimes be corruption, bribes, things like that. So in effect, we're looking at bribes may be in effect from the money in the government. So that might come to light. So that's really, the only thing I'm seeing here that's negative. And again, this is why a few months ago I looked at it and I said, no, this can't be. But I looked at it again and yeah, it's pretty positive. So Canada might actually take this rift that, Trump has created and actually position themselves in a better place for the future. So I hope you like this and have a great evening. Bye now.